In the quilt stitch menu, menu D, stitch number 2 is a hand look quilt stitch. Now this is a manipulated stitch. First off, it does call for a 1/4 inch foot. You can use any foot that you have, an A foot or even a walking foot if you're going through lots of layers of batting, which you would if you're doing this stitch. But I want to show you how we set it up because it's totally different than the normal stitch. First off, we don't use a colored thread in our needle. Clip it, pull it out the needle, then none of the extra length goes back up into your machine. Take that off. Now I do have this colored thread in my bobbin, so that's the color that's going to get yanked up to the top and shown in the actual look of the hand stitching. Next we're going to use some clear thread. Now clear thread for me is always a pain, and I do find that using a thread stand is going to be quite helpful. This is an optional stand that you can get. It's called the Mega Spool Stand, available at your Husqvarna Viking dealer. Just flip up one of your little pins here, you can use that one too, and then set your spool on here and then just go all the way up to the top for threading. And notice how, well, you probably can't see it because it's completely clear. The thread is very kinky, and so with it being that little, it's really high strung, we'll just say that. That thread stand gives it a little time to relax as it goes all the way up and then over to our first guide. And then it also doesn't get wrapped around the base of the spool, like when sometimes it's here, it will kind of flip over and get wrapped around, and well, that's not good at all. So just go ahead and thread the machine like normal. It's kind of like threading a machine blind. Thank goodness for the needle threader, because then it can pull it right on through. Now the next thing I want to show you is actually in the tension area. The tension, you're going to notice, is actually all the way up at 8, and that is exactly what we need. We need the tension to be really, really strong to pull this stitch up. Let me go ahead and just kind of get started. We'll make sure everything is threaded correctly. And as that pulls it up, oh yeah. Now normally this does take a few stitches to get started. I am going to turn it up a little bit higher. Let's go all the way up to 9. It all depends kind of on the thread you're using and the batting you're using. Actually, I'm going to go all the way up here. All right, let me show you what I'm getting. I'm getting some stitches, but they're not as perfect as I want, and I've already increased the tension a lot more than I normally should. So I'm going to show you a little trick on this. For this particular setup, I need the bobbin thread to be a lot looser. So I'm going to just take the bobbin out completely, out of the tension, drop it in, and not do the little part at the bottom. I know I'm totally cheating here. I'm going to bring that bobbin thread up just so I know it's where it needs to be. 2 little touches of the needle up and down button brings it up. So this bobbin is really, really loose. But look what I'm going to be able to achieve. I'm going to get the stitch I'm looking for. So this is a manipulated stitch. It doesn't work with all fabrics or threads or everything. So sometimes you just kind of do what needs to be done to get the look that you're looking for. Take a look at this. Okay. So here's how what the goal is for looking on your fabric here. Oh yeah, thread cutter might not work when the bobbin has no exact tension on it. Okay, so we're looking for a stitch, and then so see how it looks like hand stitches now? So what happens is the stitch goes forward and then it goes back, and as it goes back it's really strong, so it pulls the bobbin thread up to the top of the fabric and then does another stitch and locks it in place, and then it stitches 2 stitches, once back to where it is, and then once forward, and where you see the little gap, that actually has the clear thread kind of in there. So when you flip this over, it's obvious that you did not do this by hand. This is what you'll see on the back side. But on the front side, boy, doesn't that look cool? And all that just simply by manipulating the stitch, the tension, the thread, and how we run it through our machine will give us a look of hand quilt stitches.